Hello, everyone. I am Irene. I am joined here by Rachel, and this is our presentation of the Survivors app developed by MHACC called UrSpace. So a bit of background information about our organization. MHCC is a nonprofit organization that stands for the Mental Health Association for Chinese Communities. Our mission statement is to raise awareness of mental health within the Chinese community through advocacy, education, research, support, and services. Specifically to MHACC, we have prevented 23 suicides in the year 2020. And also in February of 2021, Governor Newsom personally acknowledged and presented an award for us in our suicide prevention during COVID. And here you can also see that we have won the Nonprofit of the Year in 2019 for the state of California. So here is a short video that gives a bit more of background information on why our nonprofit was formed and what we hope to achieve with our missions. In Chinese culture, the stigma of mental health is very severe, causing major strain to families and communities across the nation. Studies have shown that Asian Americans have the lowest rate of receiving medical treatment for mental illness in the United States. Patients and family members don't know where to get help and fear the consequences of reaching out. In response to this crisis, the Mental Health Association for Chinese Communities, formed in 2012, has been serving the community through providing support groups, workshops, professional courses, and a helpline to all of those in need. All of our services are provided for free and have expanded to California and beyond. We have served over 800 families and organized more than 150 educational courses. Tens of thousands of people have benefited through our various programs and resources. We will not give up any opportunity to save a life and continue to spread mental health awareness to better the Chinese community. Thank you. Before, we have some experience in preventing suicide attempts during the COVID crisis. So the app was also developed with that in mind. We wanted to be able to provide a safe space for survivors to manage their own recovery process at their own pace. So this app actually has multiple functions, which we will go over. And just an overview of the rest of this presentation, we're going to start by of the welcome page, and then we will go through each tab of the app, which is accordingly home, track, mindfulness, breathing, explore, and my page. Okay, so now I'll be handing it off to Rachel to explain a little bit about how the welcome.
Thank you, Irene. So the welcome page is basically what you see each day and when you first actually download the app. So here you can see each day you're greeted by your virtual companion and they will ask you, hello, how are you feeling today? And this would be a daily thing. So as you can see at the bottom of the screen, there is bad, not good, good, happy, and very happy. This sort of serves out as a record keeping because you do check in with your companion each day when you first open the app. And as we will later discuss and show, you can choose your own virtual companion. We just so happen to choose the pig option. And these 4 screenshots are actually designed by one of our own graphic designers. And it sort of just serves as an introduction to the app itself. And now I'll be handing it off to Irene to discuss the homepage.
Thank you, Rachel. So our home section of the app consists of today's selection, events, and my schedule. So whenever you click on the home button of the app, there will always be a today's selection kind of recommended video in the upper top corner. So this usually consists of Psych Hub educational videos that covers a wide variety of topics that are very useful for survivors. And I just want to take this moment and mention that all of our content and materials are curated by the MHACC team in collaboration with Psych Hub. So all the videos were chosen with care and are intended to be very helpful towards the users. And then if you look at the upper left-hand corner, there is a Help Me button. So if you were to click onto that, it will actually show you with a list of helplines. Now, some of these are a little bit less urgent. As we all know, if there is a psychiatric emergency, it's always best to call 911 for emergencies. But these helplines might provide other resources that are a bit more, less urgent, but still very helpful for those who need it. And then next, if we go over to the events tab of the homepage, you can see that you are able to see local events that users may be interested in. So these could be, like how to prepare for certain things or regional events that you can meet other people in. And it gives users a sense of community and support. So it kind of helps to get out of the house a little bit and maybe get more involved with the community around you. And then lastly, if you click on the My Schedule, so right under the Help button, there is a My Schedule tab. Here is where you can actually schedule your own events, such as lunch with coworkers, therapy appointments, or just stuff like, morning hikes. It doesn't necessarily have to be revolved around your treatment or your illness. It could just be used as kind of like a calendar planning for other things. So the way you would use this is you can add events to your calendar by utilizing the little plus button function. And yeah, you can keep track of appointments, social outings, healthy life habits. So I do find this to be very helpful as well. So the next function of the app is to track your medications and stay organized. So the track page, basically, you can add in which medications you take and at what time. And this app does support, taking multiple medications because that is very common amongst users. So you can add schedule reminders to take the medication, but you can also mark it as taken or not taken. So that's good for your record keeping as well. And, users can always take notes for personal information related to their medication. For example, remember to take with food or, to record, how was this for me today? How did I feel? Or are certain side effects to be aware of, etc. So it's a very useful function for the users to track their medication usage. And then next we have mindfulness breathing, which will be covered by Rachel.
Thank you, Irene. So yeah, mindfulness breathing is one of the functions that we have on this app and arguably one of the most important ones. So this is an animation where you can see it prompts you to breathe in, hold, and breathe out. And we made it so that this option is easily accessible, especially in stressful situations, because it's the breathing exercises that help us ground ourselves in times of extreme stress. And the animation just sort of helps with the prompting of you remember to breathe in, hold, and breathe out. And again, as we mentioned before, this is very important, especially if you are going through a crisis at the moment. And that's also the reason why we made it one of the most prominent icons on the app itself, which is you can see it as a lotus, and it's hard to miss. So that's the main purpose why we wanted to make it accessible for the user. And next, I'll be going over the Explore page, which in this section includes stories, care centers, and online resources. So again, PsychHub, the educational videos are curated by MHACC and they are relatable to users. Some of them cover like what are symptoms of a depressed mood. There are a lot of options for you to look through and choose and watch. And down where you see Hear Me Out by Sandy, what are anxiety disorders? These are stories that are also curated by MHACC. Some of the stories are from firsthand accounts of survivors themselves, and some of them, again, are just educational resources. The main purpose of this is, again, to remind the user that you are not alone and that there are actually a lot of people who are going through something similar, and just to form a sense of community and so that the survivor or the user feels seen, because that's a very important aspect. And moving on to care centers, there's a list of care centers here all over the Bay Area. And as you can see in the tags, some of them are specifically targeted for children, teenagers, young adults, or teenagers, adults, and elders. Each one of them has their own purpose. And again, they're all over the Bay Area. And they also include reviews. These locations are for the user to go to seek resources. But yeah, it just serves as a reminder that they have these places that they can reach out to. Under resources, you can see there are books and further online resources. These book recommendations often cover topics about mental health. For example, as you can see in the first option that says, "You are not insane," you can see that little tag under there that says "Understanding Schizophrenia Misdiagnosis." There are also articles from professionals in the mental health field. And again, those are also curated by MHACC. And these are articles just on mental health itself. So just more resources for the users to look to in case they want to read up on it or understand themselves a little bit more. And next will be my page. And Irene, I'll hand it off to you.
Thank you, Rachel. So as we previously mentioned, when you are first opening the app and you are welcomed by your virtual companion, well, what is the virtual companion, right? So the virtual companion is a companion that you choose in the beginning of your app. So here you can see, scrolling to the options, we have like a raccoon, a bear, a pig, which is the one that we picked because it's the cutest, monkeys, etc. There's a wide variety of options. They are all animals at this point. But the purpose of having a virtual companion is that you can have direct access to tips and resources depending on the user's mood. We can see that, yes. So you know that sometimes when you're going through very difficult times, especially dealing with depression, and like suicide survivors, it can be really hard to recall how you felt when you were more stable, when you were more okay. So the virtual companion is kind of there to save snapshots of how you would be able to motivate yourself and, uplift yourself in those very times of despair. So audio messages with your virtual companion as well as text-based ones. And the virtual companion actually does give you direct access to tips and resources depending on the user's mood. So it's not just your own input into the pig companion as we have here, but the pig will also try to help you in its very best way. So another feature that comes with this virtual companion is that it can strengthen the user's commitment to the app. So having like a little animal to check in on every day feels like you have more of an obligation to use it and, just kind of have that responsibility and liability built into the daily usage of the app. So next we have My Records. This is a place where you can easily access past entries, audios, text, and image format. So that's when you talk to your virtual companion when you were feeling a bit better and you wanted to leave a little message for yourself in the future. So this is where you can access that. And yeah, as I've previously mentioned, it's a good way of reflecting and pulling strength from those past recordings and remembering that whatever you're feeling right now is not permanent, it is temporary, it will pass, and you have past entries from your past self to prove that. So lastly, a really great feature of this app in general that you can find here under my page is that the whole app is interchangeable between English and Chinese at any moment. So this allows for inclusivity towards second generation Chinese Americans because, we might not live in a household where everyone can speak perfect English or everyone can speak perfect Chinese. So let's say you want to quickly transfer some kind of information or resources to your family member, but maybe they don't, understand English fully. So a good way of doing that is to just switch the app to Chinese, and then they can access those resources and also just navigate around the app in their preferred language. And as an example, we have video resources containing Chinese subtitles and titles for everything that we have right now in the side cup. We have over 50 videos has already been subtitled. If there is more funding, we can definitely get more of those done. So here's an example of the video.
I don't remember what it's like to be happy.
I want to laugh, like everyone else.
I smile on the outside, but that's not how I feel inside.
Sometimes I get really irritated and angry at the people I love.
Yeah, and then when you're scrolling through those video resources, the titles will be, of course, in Chinese as well. So some other features that Rachel will here help us explain.
Thank you. So one of the main concerns that we had while creating this app was remaining anonymity for the user. So keeping this in mind, we had a confidentiality measure. There are two options to use this app. You can put your phone number in, or you can choose not to. But the issue with choosing not to put in your phone number is that your information will not be saved if your phone is lost or if the app is deleted. And for users who want to put in their phone number and make sure this information is saved to maintain confidentiality, we made sure that every phone number that is put in is encrypted so that the identification of the user is protected and you are able to recover the information in case you lose your phone or the app is deleted. So moving on, there is also another design issue, which Irene will cover.
So a design issue that we had was the idea of a survivor heat map. So basically what this was supposed to do was that you could anonymously report your zip code, and then you would see a map of your surrounding area to see other survivors. And then, it would in turn reduce feelings of isolation. But a huge issue of that was confidentiality. And also, it could backfire depending on how many people actually opt in to report their zip code. So we wanted to, reduce feelings of isolation, but let's say not that many people actually report into this design function. So you would look around on your map and you would see no one at all. So that from the design standpoint was actually quite flawed. But yeah, that's some of the features that we, implemented and that we also failed to implement. And just a big thank you for everyone to attend our presentation. I do want to remind everyone that this app is still a work in progress. So everything you see here might be, there might be new functions or features that are added or ones that are removed. But still, we really appreciate your support throughout this whole process. And I hope that this presentation has been more helpful to see what kind of an app we are trying to develop and, maybe future interest in the app as well. So thank you guys so much. Any questions and comments are always welcome. And you can reach us at this email or at this phone number. Thank you.
Yay.